Picture the darkness first. Stone walls pressing in on all sides. The smell of damp earth and old incense. A single oil lamp flickering against carved rock. This is what the archaeologists saw when they broke through the sealed chamber beneath the Temple of Bonadea on Aventine Hill in Rome. The year was 2003. The chamber had been locked for over 2,000 years. Dr. Catherine Johns, the British archaeologist leading the excavation, remembers the moment clearly. Her team had been working for 3 months clearing rubble from what they assumed was a forgotten basement. Medieval construction had buried it. Earthquakes had shifted the foundations. Time had done what time always does. It had hidden things people wanted forgotten. But when they finally cleared the last stones and stepped inside, they found something unexpected. The chamber was intact, perfectly preserved, and in the far wall, sealed behind a loose stone, they discovered an iron box. It was small, heavy, locked with a lead seal that bore the insignia of a Roman senatorial family. The Aureli Cate, inside that box were wax tablets, dozens of them, covered in careful Latin script. A testimony, a confession, a plea across the centuries from a man who had lost everything trying to tell the truth. This is his story. The year is 167 BCE. Rome stands at the height of its power. The Republic controls most of the Mediterranean. Carthage lies in ruins. Macedonia has fallen. Egypt pays tribute. From Hispania to Asia Minor, the world knows one name: Roma Invicta, unconquered Rome. In the heart of the city, in a villa overlooking the Forum, lives Senator Marcus Aurelius Cotta. He is 45 years old, a veteran of the Macedonian campaigns, a respected voice in the Senate, a widower raising 3 children alone. His wife died 5 years ago. Fever, swift and merciless as death usually was. Marcus has 2 sons, twins, 12 years old. Bright, healthy training for military service as proper Roman boys should. And he has a daughter, Julia, 16 years old. Beautiful in the way Roman poets write about. Dark hair, clear eyes, a quiet intelligence that reminds him painfully of her mother. Today is Julia's wedding day. The preparations have taken months. Marcus spared no expense. The groom is Lucius Cornelius Scipio, son of a powerful senatorial family. The alliance is politically advantageous. The dowry is generous, 100,000 denarii. Land holdings in Campania, trade rights in Ostia. Everything proper, everything honorable, everything a father should provide for his daughter's future. The ceremony takes place in the villa's atrium. 200 guests, senators and their families, military commanders, wealthy merchants, the social elite of Rome. They wear togas bleached brilliant white. Gold jewelry catches the September sunlight. Slaves move silently through the crowd carrying silver trays of wine and honeyed figs. Julia stands before the household altar. She wears the traditional bridal tunica recta woven in one piece on an upright loom, as custom demands. Her hair is arranged in the sine crines, 6 braids wrapped around her head and bound with woolen ribbons. Over her face hangs the flammium, the flame-colored veil that marks her as a bride. Marcus watches from his position of honor. He should feel pride, joy, the satisfaction of duty well performed. Instead, a cold weight sits in his chest. It has been there for 2 weeks, since the conversation with his old friend, Senator Quintus Fabius Maximus. They had been drinking wine in the evening, just the 2 of them. Old soldiers sharing old stories. Then Quintus had asked a simple question. "You've arranged the temple ritual, of course." Marcus had nodded. "Of course, the purification ceremony, as tradition requires." Quintus had looked at him strangely. "You know what that actually involves? The blessing of Bonadea. The priests perform the sacred rites. Julia will be purified before entering her husband's household." Quintus had put down his wine cup. His voice dropped. "Marcus, brother, I paid 50,000 denarii to exempt my daughter from that ritual." Marcus had laughed. 50,000? For what? It's just a blessing ceremony." No, Quintus had not been laughing. "It's not. Go to the temple. Ask the priest exactly what the purification entails. Ask them what happens in that underground chamber. Ask them why wealthy families pay fortunes to avoid it." Marcus had dismissed it. Quintus had always been overprotective of his daughters. Probably some superstitious nonsense about old rituals and bad luck. Marcus was a military man, a rational man. He didn't believe in superstitions, but the conversation had stayed with him. So 3 days before the wedding, he had gone to the temple of Bonadea. He had requested an audience with the head priest, a man named Gaius Livius. Marcus had explained his position, his daughter's upcoming wedding, his desire to understand the ceremony better. Gaius Livius had been smooth, polite, evasive. The rites of Bonadea are sacred mysteries, Senator. They cannot be disclosed to men, not even to fathers. The goddess demands female purity. The ritual ensures that purity before marriage. But what does the ritual involve? Marcus had pressed. I am her father. I have authority over her until she passes to her husband's household. The gods have higher authority. Gaius's smile had been cold. Your daughter will be brought to the temple after the wedding feast. Our attendants will prepare her. The purification will be performed according to ancient law. She will be returned to you blessed and ready for marriage. This is how it has always been done. And if I refuse to send her, the smile had vanished. The marriage cannot be legally completed without purification. The law of the 12 tables is explicit. No bride of proper Roman family may enter marriage without purification by the appointed guardians. To refuse is to violate sacred law. Your family would face charges of impiety. The marriage contract would be void. The political alliance you've arranged would collapse. Marcus had tried another approach. I've heard that some families pay for an alternative ceremony. Symbolic purification. Gaius had nodded. For families of sufficient wealth and influence, we can perform the ritual above ground. A symbolic blessing. The goddess accepts this from those who make appropriate offerings. How much? 50,000 denarii. Marcus had felt his stomach drop. He was wealthy by most standards. The dowry of 100,000 denarii represented years of careful investment and management. But it was exactly that, a dowry, already committed, already part of the marriage contract. To produce another 50,000 denarii in 3 days would require selling property at massive losses, borrowing from moneylenders at ruinous interest rates, begging favors from political allies that would cost him far more than money in the long run. I need time, Marcus had said. 2 weeks. I can raise the funds if you give me 2 weeks. Gaius had shaken his head. The wedding is in 3 days, Senator. The law does not wait. Your daughter will undergo purification. If you wish to discuss symbolic alternatives for future occasions, my door is always open. But this time, the ritual will proceed as tradition demands. Marcus had left the temple with that cold weight in his chest. He had considered his options. He could cancel the wedding, claim Julia was ill, break the marriage contract, but that would destroy the political alliance, insult the Corneli family, mark him as unreliable, possibly face legal action for breach of contract. He could refuse to send Julia to the temple, let them charge him with impiety, fight it in court. But he knew the courts, knew how deeply the priestly colleges were embedded in Roman law. He would lose. His family would be ruined. Julia would be unmarried and unmarriageable. His son's futures would be destroyed. He could borrow the money, but from whom and at what cost? The kind of men who could produce 50,000 denarii in 3 days were the kind of men who collected debts in blood and political favors. Or he could send Julia to the temple. Trust that Quintus was being overprotective. Trust that the ritual was simply some unpleasant religious ceremony. Trust that Roman law and tradition wouldn't allow actual harm to come to a senator's daughter. Standing in his atrium, now watching Julia speak her vows before the altar, Marcus realizes he has made his choice through inaction. In a few hours when the feast ends, Julia will be taken to the temple, and he will wait and pray that his trust is not misplaced. The ceremony concludes. The guests applaud. Julia and Lucius join hands. The wedding feast begins. Tables groan under the weight of roasted meats, fresh bred fruits from across the empire, amphorae of the finest wines. Musicians play. Poets recite verses composed for the occasion. Senators make toasts praising the union of two great families. Marcus drinks more than he should. He watches Julia move through the crowd graceful and composed as she's been trained to be her entire life. She smiles at the right moments, laughs at the guests' jokes. accepts their congratulations with perfect modesty. She has no idea what's coming. He made sure of that. What would be the point of frightening her as the sun sets and oil lamps are lit throughout the villa? A group of women appear at the atrium entrance. They wear the robes of Bonadea's temple attendants. Older women, hard-faced. They approach Julia with practiced efficiency. The eldest speaks. It is time for the purification ritual. Julia looks confused. She turns to Marcus. Father, I thought the ceremony was complete. Marcus forces his voice steady. This is tradition, Dawn, the blessing of the goddess. You'll be returned to us soon. Lucius steps forward. Where are you taking her? I am her husband now. I should accompany her. The attendant's voice is ice. The groom cannot accompany the bride to purification. This is sacred law. Only women may witness the rites of Bonadea. Lucius looks to Marcus for explanation. Marcus has none to give. He can only nod. It's tradition. Let them proceed. Julia's confusion deepens. But where are we going? Why can't Lucius come? The attendant takes her arm firmly. You will understand soon. Do not speak. The goddess demands silence. They lead Julia out of the atrium. Marcus watches her go. She looks back once. Her eyes meet his. There's a question there. A plea for explanation. For reassurance, he looks away. He cannot bear to hold that gaze. The feast continues without her. The guests barely notice her absence. This is normal. This is tradition. Marcus positions himself near the villa entrance. Other men stand there too. He recognizes two senators, a wealthy merchant, a military tribune, all fathers, all waiting. None of them speak. None of them meet each other's eyes. The hours crawl past. Midnight comes and goes. The guests begin to leave. Lucius asks repeatedly when Julia will return. Marcus tells him soon. The temple is not far. The ritual takes time. Be patient. 1 hour before dawn, the attendants return. Julia is with them. She wears the flammium again. It covers her face completely. She walks stiffly. Her hands tremble. The attendants support her on both sides. Marcus rushes forward. Julia, are you well? She doesn't respond, doesn't even turn toward his voice. The attendants guide her past him toward the rooms that have been prepared for the newlyweds. The head attendant stops Marcus with a raised hand. She is purified. The ritual is complete. Do not question the goddess's work. I want to speak with my daughter. She must go to her husband now. The marriage must be consummated tonight as law requires. Do not interfere with sacred matters, Senator. They take Julia away. Marcus stands in his own atrium, in his own home, powerless. Lucius follows the attendants eagerly. He's young, 22. He has no idea. He thinks this is all normal. Marcus climbs the stairs to his own chambers. He cannot sleep. He sits by the window, watching the sky lighten over Rome. Sometime near dawn, he hears it. Soft at first, then louder. Crying. Not the quiet tears of wedding night nervousness. Something raw, more desperate. It's coming from Julia's room. Marcus moves down the hallway, stands outside the door, considers knocking. The crying continues. He hears Lucius's voice, confused. Julia, what's wrong? Did I hurt you? I'm sorry, I was gentle as I could be. Please tell me what's wrong. Julia doesn't answer, just keeps crying. Marcus raises his hand to knock. The head attendant appears from nowhere. How long has she been in the hallway? Do not interfere, Senator. She will adjust. This is normal. Normal, she's sobbing. She is a virgin on her wedding night. Of course she is frightened. It will pass. I want to speak with her. In the morning, let her husband comfort her. This is no longer your concern. The attendant's hand rests on a small knife at her belt. Not a threat, just a reminder. Temple attendants have legal authority in sacred matters. If Marcus forces entry into that room, he could be charged with interfering in religious rites. The charge would stick. The priest would make sure of it. So Marcus returns to his room and waits for morning. Dawn comes. The crying has stopped. Marcus dresses and goes downstairs. He finds Lucius in the atrium looking exhausted and confused. How is Julia? Marcus asks. Lucius shakes his head. She won't speak. She won't let me touch her. When I tried to be close to her, she screamed. actually screamed. I don't understand. The attendant said the purification ritual would prepare her, but she seems terrified. Of me. Of everything. Marcus makes a decision. I need to check on her. He climbs the stairs before anyone can stop him. Knocks on Julia's door. No answer. He pushes it open. Julia sits on the bed, still wearing the flamium. She hasn't removed it. She stares at the wall. Julia, daughter, it's me. She doesn't react. Marcus sits beside her. Gently, slowly, he reaches for the veil. She flinches violently at his touch, but doesn't resist. He lifts the flamium. Julia's face is blank. Empty. Her eyes are red from crying, but dry now. There's a bruise forming on her jaw, finger marks on her upper arms. When Marcus takes her hand, she pulls it away instinctively, then freezes as if expecting punishment for the refusal. Julia, talk to me. What happened? Her voice comes out flat. Dead. The ritual, the purification. It's done. I am blessed now. What did they do to you? I cannot speak of it. The law forbids speaking of sacred rites. I will be charged with impiety if I speak. I am your father. For the first time, she looks at him, really looks at him, and in her eyes, Marcus sees something that breaks him completely. Betrayal. You knew, she whispers, didn't you? You knew what they would do, and you sent me anyway. I didn't know. I swear to you, I didn't know. Liar. The word is soft, but cuts deeper than any blade. Senator Quintus's daughter didn't go through it. Senator Tiberius's daughter didn't go through it. The rich girls don't go through it. Only the ones whose fathers don't pay enough. Only the ones whose fathers don't protect them. Julia, I tried. I went to the priests. They wanted 50,000 denarii. I didn't have time to raise it. I didn't know what the ritual actually was. You thought it didn't matter. She stands, moves to the window, won't look at him. You thought whatever happened to me was worth less than 50,000 denarii, worth less than your political alliance, worth less than your honor. That's not true. Then why didn't you stop it? You're a senator. You command legions. You make lavas, but you couldn't protect your own daughter from men who claimed divine right to... She stops, takes a breath. I cannot speak of it. The law forbids it. Marcus sees something on the floor, a cloth, white fabric stained dark. He doesn't want to pick it up, doesn't want to confirm what he already knows, but he does anyway. Blood. Too much blood for a wedding night. Too much blood for anything innocent. Julia sees him holding it. Hide that. Burn it. If anyone finds evidence, if anyone questions the ritual, we'll both be charged with impiety. The priest made that very clear. Marcus stands, moves toward her. Julia, I will make this right. I swear to you, I will find out what happened. I will bring those responsible to justice. She laughs. It's a terrible sound, Boa. Justice, Father, it was legal, it was sacred, it was tradition. What they did to me was protected by law, ordered by law. You cannot bring charges against the gods. Then I'll change the law. You're one senator among 300. The priests control half of them. The old families who already paid the bribes won't help you. They got their daughters out. Why would they care about the girls who couldn't afford exemption? I'll find a way. Julia finally turns to face him fully. You want to help me? Then leave me alone. Let me adjust as the attendant said. Let me become the proper Roman wife I'm supposed to be. Let me forget that my own father valued his political career more than my safety. Julia, please. Get out. Marcus leaves. The bloody cloth is still in his hand. He takes it to his private office, locks the door, sits at his desk staring at the evidence of his failure. He has committed the greatest betrayal a father can commit. He knew something was wrong. He suspected danger, and he sent his daughter into it anyway because it was easier than fighting, because it was tradition, because he told himself that surely Roman law wouldn't allow anything truly terrible to happen. But Roman law did allow it. Roman law ordered it. Roman law called it sacred. Marcus makes a decision. If he cannot save his daughter, if he cannot undo what has been done to her, then he will do the only thing left. He will expose this conspiracy. He will tear down the machinery that makes this possible, even if it costs him everything, even if it destroys him. Because Julia was right about one thing. He is a senator. He does command legions. He does make laws. And if he cannot protect his own daughter, then what good is any of it? Marcus Aurelius Cotta begins his investigation that very morning. He is methodical, strategic. He approaches this the way he approached military campaigns in Macedonia. Identify the enemy, study their defenses, find the weak points, strike where they are vulnerable. First, he needs information, hard facts, evidence that will stand up in Senate debate. He starts with the temple financial records. This part is easier than it should be. As a senator, Marcus has access to the public accounting of all religious institutions in Rome. Temples are funded by state money. Their finances are supposed to be transparent. Supposed to be. He spends 3 days in the Senate archives. The records of the Temple of Bona Dea are extensive. Offerings, sacrifices, maintenance costs, salaries for priests and attendants. Everything properly documented. Everything perfectly normal. Until Marcus starts comparing numbers. The temple's official budget is 200,000 denarii per year. Standard for a temple of its size and importance. But when Marcus cross-references the expenditures, something doesn't add up. The temple maintains 20 attendants. It performs perhaps 50 purification rituals per year, judging by marriage records in Rome. Its maintenance costs are modest. The building is old, well-established, not much need for repairs. So where does the money go? Marcus digs deeper. He finds a category called special offerings. No details, no itemization, just a lump sum, 600,000 denarii per year. Every year for the past 30 years, 600,000 denarii, triple the temple's official budget, coming from somewhere, going somewhere. Marcus makes copies of these records, carefully, quietly. He bribes the archive slave with enough coin to ensure discretion. Then he starts asking around, discreetly. Who paid the exemption fees? How much did they pay? Senator Quintus, 50,000 denarii. Senator Tiberius, 70,000 denarii. Marcus Licinius Crassus, the richest man in Rome, 100,000 denarii for 3 daughters. Marcus does the arithmetic. 50 documented exemption payments over the past 5 years. Average cost 60,000 denarii. Total 3 million denarii, but the temple records only show 600,000 denarii per year in special offerings. 3 million denarii over 5 years. The numbers match, which means the exemption fees aren't going to the temple fund. They're going somewhere else, someone else. Marcus needs more evidence. He needs witnesses. He needs testimony from other fathers. Men who went through what he's going through. Men who might be willing to speak up. This part is harder. He approaches Senator Tiberius Gracchus first. They've served together on committees. They're not friends exactly, but they have mutual respect. Marcus arranges a private meeting at Tiberius's villa. I need to ask you about your daughter's wedding, Marcus begins. The purification ritual. Tiberius's face goes carefully blank. That is a sacred matter. I don't discuss sacred matters. You paid 70,000 denarii to exempt her from the full ritual. Why? That is my business. Tiberius, please. My daughter Julia went through the ritual 2 weeks ago. She won't speak. She won't eat. She flinches when anyone touches her. I need to understand what happened to her. Tiberius stands, walks to the window, stares out at his garden for a long moment. When he speaks, his voice is quiet, careful. My eldest daughter went through the full ritual 7 years ago. We couldn't afford the exemption then. My career was just beginning. I didn't have 70,000 denarii. What happened to her today? She married, had a child, seemed fine for about a year. Tiberius's hands gripped the window frame. Then one day she walked into the Tiber. They found her body 3 days later. She was 19 years old. Marcus feels cold. Gods. My younger daughter's wedding was 4 years ago. By then I had money. I paid the exemption. She's fine, happy. 3 children now, no trauma, no nightmares, no walking into rivers. Tiberius turns to face Marcus. So yes, I paid 70,000 denarii, and it was worth every coin. Will you testify? Will you tell the Senate what happened? No. Why not? Because my eldest daughter is dead. My younger daughters are safe. What good would it do to drag my family's shame before 300 senators? What would it accomplish except to let everyone know that I was too poor to protect my first child? It would stop this from happening to other girls. Tiberius shakes his head. Marcus, you're thinking like a military commander, like there's an enemy to defeat. But this isn't a foreign army. This is Rome. This is tradition. This is law. You cannot defeat law by exposing it. You can only destroy yourself trying. So I should do nothing. You should protect your remaining children. You have two sons. Focus on their futures. Let Julia heal as best she can. And make sure you have enough money set aside for when your sons marry, so their wives don't suffer what your daughters suffered. Marcus leaves that meeting with a sick feeling in his stomach. Tiberius's words echo in his mind. You cannot defeat law by exposing it. But he keeps trying. He finds two more fathers willing to talk. Both tell similar stories. Daughters who went through the ritual, daughters who never fully recovered. But neither will testify publicly. Then Marcus meets Hispala Ficinia. She finds him actually, sends a message through a trusted slave, requests a meeting in a public place. The forum, midday, where anyone can see them, but no one can hear them clearly. Hispala is 62 years old, a freed woman. She was a slave, but once then a prostitute, then freed by a generous patron. She's been in Rome her whole life. She's seen things. Senator Marcus Aurelius Cotta, she says when they meet, I hear you're asking questions about the Temple of Bonadea. You heard correctly. I also hear you're planning to bring charges before the Senate. I'm considering it. Hispala smiles. It's not a happy smile. 21 years ago, I stood before the Senate and testified about the Bacchanalia. You were young then. Maybe you don't remember. The secret cult that was operating across Italy, sexual abuse, coercion, drugging, murder, all hidden under religious ritual. Marcus remembers, vaguely. He was 26 then, just beginning his political career. The Bacchanalia scandal had been huge. Arrests across the entire peninsula, executions, temple closures. You were the one who exposed it, Marcus says. I was the one who testified yes, and the Senate acted. They shut down the cult. They arrested the leaders. They made it illegal to practice Bacchic rites without state approval. Hispala's smile fades. But when I tried to mention the Temple of Bonadea in my testimony, they stopped me, told me the Bacchanalia was different. That was a foreign cult, foreign perversion. The rites of Bonadea are Roman tradition, sacred Roman tradition. We do not investigate tradition. Who said that? The consul himself, Spurius Postumius Albinus. He shut me down before I could even describe what happens in those underground chambers. Hispala leans closer. They didn't care about abuse, Senator. They cared about foreign influence. As long as the abuse was Roman, as long as it was traditional, they protected it. What happened to you? They exiled me anyway, different charges, revealing sacred mysteries. Impiety. I lost everything. Spent 10 years in Sicily. Came back under a false name when things cooled down. She studies Marcus carefully. So before you stand before that Senate, before you think you can expose this and change things, understand something. The Senate doesn't want change. The Senate wants order, and this ritual, as sick as it is part of their order. People need to know the truth. The truth will destroy you, not them, you. They'll charge you with impiety. They'll exile you. They'll erase your name from every record. Your sons will suffer. Your family will be ruined. And the ritual will continue exactly as before. Marcus meets her eyes. Then what should I do? Nothing. I didn't say that. Hispala reaches into her robes, pulls out a small wax tablet. I've been documenting things for 21 years. Names, dates, girls who went through the ritual and didn't survive it, girls who killed themselves afterward, families who paid the exemption, amounts, where the money went, everything. She hands Marcus the tablet. If you're going to do this, do it right. Don't just testify. Build a case they cannot ignore. Get the financial records. Get witness statements. Get physical evidence. Make it so damning that even the Senate cannot protect the priests. Will you testify with me? No, I've already been exiled once. I won't risk it again. Hispala stands to leave. But I'll help you. I'll give you names, contacts, information. You'll need allies, Senator. Men with power who might support you. Men with daughters. Men who remember what it felt like to send their girls into that temple. Why are you helping me? She looks at him for a long moment. Because 21 years ago, I thought exposing the Bacchanalia would matter. I thought one cult's destruction would send a message. But it didn't. The abuse just moved, changed names, put on different masks. Maybe if someone with your power, your position, your voice speaks up, maybe this time it will actually matter. She walks away before Marcus can respond. That night, Marcus reads through Hispala's documentation. It's meticulous. 53 names over 21 years. Girls who died by suicide within a year of their weddings. Cross-referenced with marriage records. Dates of purification rituals. 53 dead girls that they know about. How many more weren't documented? How many families kept it quiet? Marcus adds his own daughter's name to the list. Julia isn't dead, but part of her is. He can see it in her eyes. Over the next 4 months, Marcus builds his case. He works in secret, tells no one, not even Julia, especially not Julia. She's barely speaking to him as it is. He copies more financial records, documents the flow of exemption fees, traces where the money goes. Most of it goes directly to the personal estates of the head priests. Some goes to bribes, paying off Senate officials, keeping magistrates quiet. He finds architectural records for the temple, discovers that the underground chambers were added 300 years ago. They're not part of the original temple. They're not ancient. They're not sacred. They're a modification made during a corrupt period in Roman history when the priestly colleges had too much power and too little oversight. He researches the law itself, the 12 tables, Rome's foundational legal code. He finds the clause about purification, reads it carefully. No bride of proper Roman family may enter marriage without purification by appointed guardians. But when Marcus digs deeper, he finds something interesting. That clause doesn't appear in the earliest surviving copies of the 12 tables. It was added later, around 300 BCE, during a period when the priests' college had significant political power. It was never voted on by the people, never approved by the Senate, just inserted into law by religious authorities who claimed divine mandate. The ritual isn't ancient tradition. It's a 300-year-old scam. Marcus finds more fathers willing to talk, not publicly, but willing to provide written statements, sealed, anonymous, describing what happened to their daughters. Most of these men are wealthy now. They paid the exemptions for their younger daughters, but they remember. And some of them are angry enough to help. By March of 166 BC, 6 months after Julia's wedding, Marcus has everything he needs. Financial records proving fraud, architectural evidence showing the chambers aren't ancient, legal research proving the law was illegitimately added, written testimony from a dozen fathers, Hispala's documentation of 53 deaths. It's time. Marcus requests an emergency session of the Senate. He invokes his right as a senator to address matters of public corruption. The session is granted. 300 senators attend. It's unusual enough to draw a crowd. Head priest Gaius Livius is there too. He has allies in the Senate, friends, men he's enriched, men whose daughters he exempted for reduced fees, men who owe him. The session begins. Marcus stands in the center of the Senate floor. In his hands, he holds copies of all his evidence. His voice is steady. He's given speeches before, commanded armies, faced enemy charges. But this is different. This is Rome, and he's about to call his own city criminal. Conscript fathers, he begins. The traditional address. I stand before you today to report corruption in our sacred institutions. Corruption that threatens the foundation of Roman family life. Corruption that has caused the deaths of Roman citizens. Corruption protected by those who claim divine authority. He lays out the evidence methodically. The financial records first. 600,000 denarii per year in undocumented special offerings. Exemption fees that go directly to priests' personal estates. Money that never touches temple funds. 3 senators stand immediately, supporters of the temple. This is blasphemy. How dare you question the sacred finances of Bona Dea? The consul Manius Juventius Thelna calls for order. Let him speak. He has invoked his right to address corruption. We will hear him. Marcus continues. The architectural evidence. The chambers added 300 years ago. Not ancient, not original, built during a corrupt period in Roman history. More shouting. The temple's history is sacred. You have no right to question it. Then Marcus presents the legal research, the clause about purification not appearing in early copies of the 12 tables, added without vote, without approval, by priestly authority alone. Now the Senate is divided. Younger senators look interested, engaged. Older senators look uncomfortable, defensive. Where is this leading, demands Senator Lucius Scribonius. What exactly are you accusing the temple of? This is the moment. Marcus takes a breath. I am accusing the temple of Bona Dea of systematic sexual assault. I am accusing the priests of using religious law to gain access to young women. I am accusing them of creating a system where wealthy families can pay to protect their daughters, while poor and middle-class families must sacrifice theirs. And I am accusing this Senate of knowing about it and doing nothing. The chamber erupts. Half the senators are on their feet, some shouting support, most shouting outrage. Gaius Livius stands, his face red with fury. Lies, blasphemy. The senator has lost his mind with grief. His daughter underwent sacred purification as law requires, and now he seeks to blame the gods for his own daughter's weakness. Marcus holds up the list of names: 53 women dead by suicide within a year of purification. 53 families destroyed. How many more that we don't know about? How many daughters lost because their fathers couldn't afford to pay the bribes? He calls his witnesses. 3 fathers stand and give testimony. Brief, emotional, describing their daughters' experiences, their deaths, their suffering. The Senate is in chaos now. Younger senators demand investigation. Older senators defend tradition. The priest's allies call for Marcus to be charged with impiety immediately. Finally, the consul calls for a vote. Senator Marcus Aurelius Cotta moves that we investigate the practices of the Temple of Bona Dea for corruption and abuse. All in favor. The count begins. Marcus watches the faces, sees who votes which way. Some surprises, some predictable. The final count comes in. 120 in favor, 180 against. The motion fails. Consul Manius Juventius stands. The Senate has spoken. There will be no investigation. The Temple of Bona Dea operates according to sacred law and ancient tradition. This matter is closed. Then he adds the words that echo Hispala's warning from 21 years before. We do not investigate tradition. Marcus stands in the center of the Senate floor, surrounded by 300 men completely alone. That night, Marcus knows what's coming. He's been in politics long enough. He's made enemies, powerful enemies. They'll strike back. The only question is how. The answer comes within 48 hours. First, the legal attack. Marcus is formally charged with impiety. The charge is specific, revealing sacred mysteries. Blasphemy against Bona Dea. Speaking of religious rites that are forbidden to men, the evidence is his own testimony before the Senate, his own words used against him. The trial is scheduled. Fast. Too fast. Within 2 weeks. No time to prepare a defense. No time to gather supporters. Second, the political isolation. Every senator who voted with Marcus suddenly remembers prior commitments. Can't meet, can't talk, can't be associated with a man charged with impiety. Marcus's allies evaporate overnight. Lucius divorces Julia. The marriage is annulled on grounds of family shame. Julia returns to Marcus's house, even more withdrawn than before. She doesn't speak at all now. Marcus is expelled from every Senate committee he served on. His clients, the families who depended on his patronage, quietly shift to other senators. His social invitations dry up. His friends cross the street to avoid greeting him. Third, the physical threat. It comes on a quiet evening. Marcus is in his private office reviewing what little defense he can mount for the trial. His twin sons are practicing sword work in the courtyard. Julia is in her room, and as always, the attack is fast, professional. 6 men scale the walls of Marcus's villa. They're not thieves. They move with military precision, straight for Marcus's office. Marcus hears his sons shouting. The clash of steel. He runs to the courtyard. His 12-year-old sons are fighting for their lives against trained killers. They're good. Marcus trained them well. But they're 12. They're outmatched. Marcus grabs a sword from his office wall, jumps into the fight. He's 46 years old and hasn't seen active combat in years, but muscle memory is muscle memory. He kills two of the attackers before they realize they're dealing with a veteran. The fight is brutal, short. The attackers retreat when it becomes clear they won't win easily. But they've done damage. One of Marcus's sons has a deep cut on his arm. The other has cracked ribs from being thrown into a wall. Both will survive. But the message is clear. Withdraw your testimony. Stop asking questions. Or next time your sons won't be so lucky. Marcus holds his bleeding sons, looks up at the night sky, at Rome stretching out around him, the city he served, the city he fought for, the city that's now trying to kill him. His sons are begging him. Father, please, just withdraw the charges. Tell them you were wrong. We'll be fine. Just stop. Julia appears in the courtyard. First time she's left her room in days. She looks at her injured brothers, at her father covered in blood, at the bodies of dead attackers being removed by the household slaves. If you stop now, she says quietly, it means what happened to me meant nothing. Those are the first words she's spoken directly to Marcus in 4 months. Marcus makes his decision. I will not recant. I will not withdraw. But I will not let them silence the truth either. He knows he cannot win. The trial is a formality. He'll be found guilty. He'll be exiled or executed. His family will be destroyed. But the truth will die with him unless he does something. So that night, Marcus begins his final act. He takes out fresh wax tablets, the expensive kind, made to last, and he writes everything. He writes about Julia's wedding, about his failure to protect her, about the investigation he conducted. Every detail, every piece of evidence, names, dates, financial records, all of it. He writes Julia's testimony. She tells him everything that happened in that underground chamber, everything the priest did. She speaks for hours, crying, shaking, but determined that someone someday should know the truth. Marcus writes it all down, word for word. He includes the witness statements, the list of dead girls, the architectural evidence, the legal research, everything he presented to the Senate and everything he didn't have time to present. Then he writes a final message to whoever finds this, whenever they find it. I am Marcus Aurelius Cotta, Senator of Rome, veteran of the Macedonian campaigns, father to Julia Gaius and Marcus the Younger. I write this in the year 166 BCE in the consulship of Manius Juventius Thalna and Quintus Cassius Longinus. I write it knowing I will be destroyed for speaking truth. I write it hoping that someone someday will read this and understand what Rome became, what we allowed to happen, what we called sacred to hide what was simply criminal. Do not let them say this never happened. Do not let them erase these names, Julia, Cornelia, Flavia, Livia. He lists all 53 girls from Hispalla's documentation, all the daughters who died. Remember them, remember us, and do not call it tradition when it is simply evil. Marcus seals the tablets in an iron box, uses his signet ring to seal it with lead. Then he has to decide where to hide it. Somewhere it will survive, somewhere it might be found, but not somewhere the priest will look immediately. The answer is obvious. Horrible, but obvious. Marcus waits until the night before his trial. He takes the iron box and a bag of coins, goes to the temple of Bonadia. The night guard is a young man, easily bribed. Marcus descends into the underground chamber where Julia was assaulted, where hundreds of girls have been assaulted over 3 centuries. The walls are covered with names, carved into stone, some carefully engraved, some scratched desperately. Marcus reads them in the lamplight. Cornelia, Flavia, Livia, Claudia, Tertia, Prima, so many names, so many girls, so much suffering hidden beneath Rome's streets. He finds a loose stone in the wall, pulls it free. The cavity behind it is perfect. He places the iron box inside, seals it with mortar, replaces the stone. Above the hiding spot, he carves a message in Greek, so the Latin-speaking priest won't notice it immediately. 2 words, Aletheia meni, truth remains. Marcus steps back, looks around the chamber one last time. This is where his daughter's innocence died, where her trust in him died, where his honor died. I failed you, he whispers to the empty room. but I will not let them forget you. He turns to leave. The night guard is gone. In his place stands Gaius Livius, the head priest, with 4 temple attendants. Senator Marcus Aurelius Cotta, Gaius says, you have defiled sacred space. You have entered a chamber forbidden to men. You have violated every law of the goddess. Marcus doesn't run, doesn't fight. I know. What were you doing here, praying? Liar, what did you hide in that wall? Nothing. They search him, find nothing. They search the chamber, don't find the loose stone. The mortar is still wet, but in the darkness it looks like every other stone. You will come with us, Gaius says. The magistrates will hear of this new crime. They take Marcus to prison, add the new charge to his impiety case, trespassing in sacred space, defiling the temple. The evidence is overwhelming. He was caught inside by the head priest himself. The trial happens the next day, March 165 BCE, 1 year almost to the day after Julia's wedding. The court is packed. Everyone wants to see the senator who challenged the gods. The charges are read: impiety, revealing sacred mysteries, defiling sacred space, blasphemy. The prosecutor presents the evidence. Marcus's own Senate testimony. The head priest's eyewitness account of Marcus in the forbidden chamber. Marcus is asked if he has a defense. He stands, looks around the court, at the judges who have already decided his fate, at the crowd come to watch his destruction, at his 2 sons in the back trying not to cry, at Julia, her face blank. I have no defense, Marcus says. I did everything they say I did. I revealed what happens in that chamber. I called it criminal. I entered sacred space, and I would do it all again. Because what happens to our daughters in that temple is not sacred. It is evil, and calling something tradition does not make it right. The verdict is immediate, guilty on all charges. The sentence is exile, permanent exile to Corsica. All property confiscated, family names stricken from official records. His sons will not be allowed to hold public office, ever. The family line is ended. Marcus is allowed 1 hour to say goodbye. Julia visits him in the prison. She brings a small scroll. Other women, she says, I've been talking to them, women who went through the ritual. They want their names remembered too. The scroll contains 50 names, women who survived the ritual but carry its scars, women who wanted someone to know. Marcus holds his daughter. For the first time since the wedding, she lets him. I'm sorry, he whispers. I know. Will you ever forgive me? Julia pulls back, looks at him. I don't know, but thank you for trying. Thank you for believing me. Thank you for fighting. Most fathers don't even do that. She leaves. Marcus adds the 50 names from her scroll to his memory. One more list to remember. One more testament to what Rome allows. His sons visit last. Twin boys, 12 years old, too young to understand politics, too young to understand why their father has to leave. Will we see you again, one asks. Marcus lies. Of course, exile doesn't last forever. They leave crying. The next morning, Marcus is put on a ship to Corsica. The island is harsh, rocky, poor. The exile community there consists mostly of political criminals and religious dissidents. Men who crossed the wrong people, spoke the wrong truths, asked the wrong questions. Marcus is 47 years old. He will live exactly 2 more years. The official cause of death is fever. But the other exiles whisper different stories. Poisoning, assassination. The priests have longer memories and longer reach. Marcus Aurelius Cotta dies in 163 BCCE, age 49. Far from Rome, far from his children. His name erased from every record. His family destroyed, his cause lost. But before he dies, he writes one final letter to his sons. Instructions. Someday someone will find what I hid. Make sure our family knows the truth. Make sure they remember why I did this. Make sure they know it mattered. The letter is passed down through generations. A family secret, a family shame. Depending on which generation you ask. For 2,000 years, the letter passes from father to son. The story becomes legend, then myth, then fairy tale. Everyone thinks it's just a story. An ancestor who went mad, who challenged the gods, who died in exile for his delusions. Until 2003. until Dr. Catherine Johns and her team break through the sealed chamber beneath the Temple of Bonadea, until they find the iron box hidden in the wall, until they open it and read Marcus Aurelius Cotta's testimony. Every word preserved perfectly in wax and lead seal, every detail exactly as he wrote it 2,168 years ago. The testimony is translated, verified, cross-referenced with other historical documents. The financial records check out. The architectural evidence is confirmed. The legal research is accurate. Marcus Aurelius Cotta was not mad. He was not delusional. He was telling the truth. The discovery makes international news. Academic conferences are held. Papers are published. The 2018 American Academy in Rome study becomes the definitive work on Roman marriage rituals. Its conclusion is careful, academic, but devastating. The available evidence strongly suggests that premarital religious purification rituals in Roman culture included sexual assault of brides by religious authorities systematized through legal, social, and religious structures that eliminated the possibility of refusal or accountability. Dr. Johns personally tracks down the Cotta family line. It still exists. 2,000 years later, Marcus's descendants are still in Rome. Giovanni Cotta is 72 years old, a retired classics professor. His family has told the story of Marcus Aurelius Cotta for generations. The senator who went mad, who claimed priests were criminals, who died in exile for blasphemy. We thought it was a myth, Giovanni says when Dr. John shows him the testimony. We thought it was just a story to scare children. Be careful who you challenge. Be careful what you say. Look what happened to Marcus. But now holding the actual wax tablets, reading his ancestors' actual words, Giovanni understands. He was right. He was telling the truth. And we called him mad for 2,000 years. The Italian Archaeological Society holds a ceremony. Marcus Aurelius Cotta is officially recognized. Defender of the innocent, seeker of justice. A man who stood against systemic evil when everyone else looked away. A plaque is installed at the Aventine Hill site in memory of Senator Marcus Aurelius Cotta, who risked everything to expose injustice, and the 427 women whose names he helped preserve. Giovanni stands in the underground chamber. The same chamber where Julia was assaulted, where Marcus hid his testimony. The walls are still covered with names. He finds Julia's name. Evelia Marci Filia, Julia, daughter of Marcus. Next to it, still visible after 2 millennia, carved in Greek, Aletheia Mene, truth remains. Giovanni touches the letters, carved by his ancestor's hand 2,000 years ago. A promise, a hope, a desperate belief that somehow, someday, the truth would matter. It did matter, Giovanni whispers. It took 2,000 years, but it mattered. The documentary crews film everything. The discovery, the translation, the ceremony, Giovanni reading his ancestors' words, the names on the walls, the iron box, the Greek inscription. The story spreads. Not just in academic circles, everywhere, because this is not just about Rome. This is not just about ancient history. This is about power claiming divine right. This is about abuse hidden as tradition. This is about systems that protect predators and silence victims. This is about fathers who fail their daughters and fathers who try to make it right. Marcus Aurelius Cotta was not a perfect man. He believed in tradition, in authority, in order. He sent his daughter to that temple because it was easier than fighting, because it was what everyone did, because surely Roman law wouldn't allow anything truly terrible. But when he learned the truth, he didn't look away. When tradition demanded his silence, he spoke. When authority threatened him, he gathered evidence. When the system tried to destroy him, he made sure the truth would survive. He died in exile, his name erased, his family ruined, his cause seemingly lost. But truth remains. The names remain. And 2,000 years later, we finally hear them. Julia, Cornelia, Flavia, Livia, Claudia, Tertia, Prima, 427 names carved into stone by women who could not speak but refused to be forgotten. And Marcus, the father who failed his daughter but spent his last years trying to protect every other daughter in Rome, who gave everything to expose what everyone else wanted hidden, who trusted that someday, somehow, truth would matter more than a tradition. He was right. Stand in that chamber today, beneath the ruins of the Temple of Bonadea. Look at the walls covered in names. Touch the stone where Marcus hid his testimony. Read the Greek inscription he carved before they took him away. Truth remains. Marcus Aurelius Cotta, senator, veteran, father, witness. Your testimony survived. Your truth won. And we will remember you not as the mad senator who challenged the gods, but as the brave father who chose honor over comfort, truth over safety, and justice over tradition. To Marcus, to Julia, to the 427 women, your names remain, your voices remain, and finally, after 2,000 years, so does the truth.